the line between what we call science fiction and fantasy is just so narrow. Like, yeah, nice to meet you, Steve.
It's nice to meet you too. This is wonderful. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm speaking, of course, with Zoe Quist, director of Glitched. Zoe, thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm been traveling today and I've came from Alaska and now I find myself in Minnesota and I'm going to be in Los Angeles for the La Femme Film Festival next week. And yeah, it's good to be here and be in this moment.
You have been everywhere in a very short period of time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, well, the film is so charming. It is so
Thank
charming,
you.
so fun.
You got to watch it.
Yes, yes, and
Oh, good, good. I didn't know if you'd like seen the trailer or summary. I'm so happy.
no,
Yeah.
I have seen the film. It is just it's so much fun. Where did it come from?
So, I a producer I'd been working with on another project, said, "Hey, I've got this film that I want to shoot in Ireland. I'll send over the script. Do you want to direct it?" And I was like, is this yes, clearly, like, do I want to direct a film in Ireland? And the draft that was sent over was beautiful, but it was also maybe um it was right before the breath of AI. And so I was able to interject all of these, like, and find the parallels of like what we're going through right now. And like essentially like thinking about like children almost going through some sort of existentialist crisis, and also, keeping it this like fun family forward film. And so that was really like the origin of it. It was just a fun film in the castle, and then in bringing in my like obsession with sci-fi and merging that in, and also just something nostalgic where I really wanted to direct a film where it has a happy ending, and there's just really beautiful balance of masculine and feminine, and old and new. And yeah, it just it feels good. Like I wanted to create something that left people feeling better at the end than maybe when they entered the cinema.
Well, I mean, and that's what you've done here. This is one of those films that you feel good at the end. It's a fun ride along the way.
Mm.
And this is interesting though. It sounds like the was AI not a part of the film when you first got the script, and it was just
No.
more of a ghost story.
It was a fantasy ghost story, and this idea of Matrix for kids, and the virtual reality. The author had done this beautiful job of talking about this gray world, and and for some reason, like, I just like VFX just came flooding into my mind. I was like, that's really like the palette. You start off in this blank gray world, and then you start to build the reality, and hence like the opening sequence, which is like this deconstructed world, and then the characters start to form. And I without while preserving the writers like beautiful work. Steve Grabowski, he did a beautiful job. He just generously allowed me to infuse it with this zeitgeist that we're all in, and what does that look like. And you know al- also like conversations of finance, and that these old modalities of like having these buildings that one needs to care for, and how do you care for them, and is there sort of a path through technology. And I don't think I'm giving away too much to any potential viewer, but the hook is like the line between what we call science fiction and fantasy is just so narrow. Like, is it a ghost? Is it a ghost in the machine? what is this reality that we're experiencing? And so yeah, that was the shift. The shift went from it just being a traditional ghost story in Ireland to being incorporating all this technology now, immersive VR, avatars, you know, is it, isn't it? And then, hopefully a little bit of a surprise twist for the kids.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting because, this is one of those films that takes two unique, that older classical feel and blends it with this modern sci-fi. And I was wondering, as you're building this film, were there similarities that you saw between the two mindsets at the time, or did you think that they were in tension with one another? Because an old ghost story and a modern film about what's the word, simulation theory, um they're different, but they feel different but similar the same way. I was wondering if you saw comparisons.
Yeah, it is a great question. I think that for me as a director, like I was so like influenced by, like, I would say, like peak modern cinema,
Mm.
and those where I guess kind of coming back to, like, the good guy wins, they go through some, trials and tribulations. And I'm trying to thread the needle of your question, but something that, George Burns used to do these fun films where he would pretend to be the devil, but it wasn't charged with anything. Like, nobody actually thought he was the devil, but it was like these funny, like, comedies. And there was something to that. And there was a film called Murder by Death, which was like this, very campy film in the 80s, where they're in this old manor, and there's twists and turns and intrigue. And I was like, kind of like, what does that look like today? Like, like, those were the stories that served the 80s. Like, what does that story look like today? Even like a film like The Matrix, like, um, that was so powerful when it came out that it, like, literally changed our synapses. Like, we're different people because of that cinematic conversation.
Mm.
And so now we stand on those shoulders. So coming into a project like this, we come into it standing on certain assumptions, and certain assumptions are like, well, maybe there's something more to this reality than what we know. Just, and then it's all kind of like, I see, like Lion King back behind you, which is, a fantastic film, and also Hamlet, right? And it's like all of these stories, like, kind of revisited and remixed. And so it does pull from, I would say, yeah, like a lot of these fantastical films, like Weird Science. And yeah, yeah. You're like, oh, I see that, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then also, it's, the scene where, when Finley and Lorcan, finally come together, it's just like those, 1940s, you know romances that I personally, want more of. I want it to not be like the front and center thing. I want to have my sci-fi action, story, but then I also want the human touch. I want the story to be, the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that about it. And there's something, so like we talk about the sci-fi and the ghost story angle, but it's a very human film. It's a very human film, and sort of asking that question of what it means to be human. And one of the lines I loved about in this film, I thought, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. That is, I love, therefore I am. And I thought that was a really, obviously it's a takeoff of,
Yeah.
I think, therefore I am, Descartes.
Yeah.
But I wondered if you think that that's what makes us uniquely human.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of that's it. That is the heart of the film because like what differentiates like how do we know that we're not in a simulation, right? Like objectively, like that it's the question that all the tech titans in Silicon Valley are debating. You have Elon Musk who says like, nope, this is absolutely a simulation, go forth and have fun. And you have other people who are like, maybe, who knows? And there's that thing that makes us human. It ties into something that we call love, like that our feelings, the way we connect with people, like this moment that we're having here. That I would like to think that I would I would be having a different experience if this was your AI avatar
Mhm.
that was like pumping out code. You're like, no, Zoe, this is yeah, AI.
I have 6 fingers. Can't you see?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
there it is. That's,
Totally, I see
I'm
that.
not AI.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's getting hard to detect, but I think about it like sort of the same way we can trick like dogs and cats with squirrel videos. I feel like that's what's happening to us right now, but deep down, you know that the cats and dogs know it's not a squirrel. Like they know they're just like swatting the screen. And I feel like that's we know and maybe we want to be tricked a little bit. We're allowing ourselves, just like the first time the train came through the screen or you know in there's we become more and more sophisticated, so I imagine that children will be able to detect AI in a way that we can't. Like let me little kids like say think about like look even back to I just recently saw Jurassic Park again, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like this is the penultimate in visual effects. And and now I have a different appreciation. I was like, wow, like they pulled that off, but it's like, we're comparing it against, computers that are a million times faster and better and software that's more sophisticated. And so I think that that's the thing that makes me feel good about AI is that we also will become smarter and will have a more discerning eye.
Well, if it's any consolation, my wife was just saying to me yesterday that my 10-year-old, our 10-year-old can pick out AI faster than she can.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, he's just sort of, hey, an ad came up. He goes, that doesn't look real to me. Like it's really interesting to see how his visual acuity is different than even mine is and stuff. But I think this is one of the interesting things about this film is it's having somewhat these conversations while still allowing itself to feel like a Jane Austen sweeping type of film. You've
Yeah.
blended these two worlds. I just think it's so fascinating. And it's so much fun. It's so
Thank you,
delightfully
Steve.
fun.
I really appreciate your insights and also like, finding that moment where, Finley, you know, has that aha, like, how does she know that this is real? How do we know that we exist? And it's like, oh, because you love your wife, you love your son, you love your dog, you love your life. The moment you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, like, thank you. I get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, even here you and I are sitting in different parts of the world having this conversation.
Mhm.
Many are seeing it digitally, and there's real people on the end here that's having this conversation as well. It's an interesting balance. I'd never really thought of it until this moment. But yeah, I mean that's what does make us that, and I think that we see that here is love is a defining factor. Um, Zoe, I know we're running out of time, but I would just love to know what is it you hope audiences take away from Glitched?
Yeah, I always come back to this idea that it's such a gift when an audience gives you their 90 minutes or their 120 minutes, especially during this time where there's such a demand on on attention. And so, what I hope they get out of it is sort of like a respite of sorts, like where they're like a nervous system reset, where they get to go on this journey with, some thrills and a few fun scares, but at the end that they're left feeling better about being a human in this world and the possibility of the future of humanity, that they're left feeling like, you know what, it actually can work out. Like it's actually everything's gonna be okay.
I love that, honestly.
Yeah.
Zoe, thank you so much for
Thank
your time. I
you.
really
It was so
appreciate it.
lovely meeting you, Steve. Thank you so much.
It's lovely meeting you too. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.